Hello and welcome. On today's show, we are going to do a little choose your own pivot for if a hurricane is coming during your Disney World vacation. Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Williams, and today you are here at the Magical Travel Adventure YouTube channel to talk about what happens if there is a hurricane during your trip. Now, if you don't know, I am a travel agent and my information is below if you'd like to use me. My service is free. And one of the things that I want to mention is we are talking today about hurricanes, and I'm recording this as Hurricane Elsa is approaching Walt Disney World. And I have a lot of clients that have questions. What do I do? How should is it safe? What's going to happen? So, let's first talk about what happens for Disney World if there is a hurricane. Disney is great about helping you to get the best vacation, and they totally understand hurricanes because that's where they live and they're used to them. I will say that Disney World has done extensive work on their properties to make them hurricane safe. That is my own term, not Disney's term. But people from around the state go to Disney World during a hurricane because it's the safest place. Universal is also made. It's a very safe place. And what I will say, what are some of the things that make it safe, even though we do have some towers at both Disney World and Universal, most of the places in Disney World are 3 or 4 levels high. So the buildings aren't as high as they would be, say, like, let's say in New York City. So the height is not so much a concern. And all the windows and everything like that are hurricane proof. So you should feel comfortable if you have to be at Disney World during a hurricane. Now, that's talking to someone who's lived through many hurricanes and lived without power for many days, even last year, without power for almost a whole week because of a hurricane. So it's just something I'm used to. If you live on the East Coast, it's just something you grow up doing, but it might not be your thing. So today it's like choose your own pivot. And I kind of came up with this type of thing is because when you go to Disney World, you can plan all you want, but it's not always going to work out perfectly. And you need to adjust. And you need to have a backup plan, and you need to be able to think and change your plans without having a complete meltdown every time it happens, because you're going to need to be flexible when you're at Disney World. Everything isn't going to work out perfectly. The bus is not always going to show up when you want. The ride that you want to ride is not always going to be open. The line times are not always going to be what you want them to be. The weather is not always going to be what you want to be. So you need to have that flexibility, and sometimes you just need to hear, like, what are the options that I could do, or what are some options that I can do in order to do that. Now, again, I am a teacher also. I do this all the time. Like, I don't probably get through any lesson thinking like, hey, I'll get this whole thing done and it's going to work out perfectly. I just did 15 months of remote teaching where things changed every week, every day, every hour. So me being able to be flexible and changing what I'm doing is like second nature now to me. So things like planning a Disney trip, having that knowledge and having the options that you know that you can do are the most helpful things so you can make the best decision to have your best trip. So let's talk about how to pivot when there is a hurricane coming to Disney World during your vacation. Now, let's say it's happening before you even get to Disney World. So the hurricane's announced. What are you going to do? You have to decide by a certain point whether you're going to cancel your trip, reschedule your trip, or adjust your dates. Like, those are pretty much your 3 options. Cancel, rebook, or like adjust your dates. Like, either move them up or move them back. So that's pretty much what it is. Rebooking means that you're rebooking for like 5 months out. Okay? And obviously canceling is just canceling and saying, we'll figure it out another time. I don't know what to do. What I will say is that over the past couple of years, Disney World has experienced hurricanes. They are very equipped, they're all set. Post COVID, not so much. But from my understanding, Disney is going to work with you with your park passes if you do need to adjust your days. Now, it's not guaranteed, but they are definitely going to work with you to try and get you the park passes that you want if you have to adjust your days. Again, you have to work with Disney, meaning calling in, or you could just call your travel agent and they'll do it for you to try and work it all out and get that all settled for you. So, if you're canceling, you just cancel your trip. Now, you might have to, depending on when it was announced that the hurricane was coming and when you decided to cancel, you might lose some money. So that's why if you have trip insurance, that's that I don't want to say guarantee. That's the reason that you get trip insurance. You don't know when a hurricane's coming when you plan your trip 18 months out. You don't know that something horrible is going to happen, like, well, I'm not going to say a hurricane's horrible, but it's devastating for you to have to change your trip. So insurance is one of those things that can help if you have the right coverage to get this unexpected coverage for your trip. So just understand that the trip insurance that you buy is not for expecting that everything goes perfectly. It's that there might be some sort of interruption. Just like how flights keep getting canceled because they don't have enough people to work at them. Having that trip insurance will help with those costs that you have to bear because of all these things. So that's where the trip insurance comes into play. So the policy changes for hurricanes on different days and things like that. So I'm not going to go over the whole hurricane policy because it changes a lot and it's different for different types. If you have tickets, if you just have rooms, if you have a package, it's all different. So I'm not going to talk about that all here. What I am going to say is if you decide to rebook for other dates, again, you'll have to call in and say, because of the hurricane, I have to change my dates. That would also be true if you got a hurricane at your house and not at Disney World. If a hurricane is coming at your house and you physically cannot leave to go to Disney, they will work with you to rebook and figure something out. Now, the one that we're going to choose today is that we are going to adjust our dates. So let's say the hurricane comes on Tuesday. We are going to now arrive on Thursday for our trip. So when you decide that you are coming now on Thursday for your trip, so it's 2 days later, you have to adjust your plane reservations. And now you're working with Disney like, okay, so what can I do? A lot of times at that point, your hotel is going to be completely booked up. You might be able to get the same room, you might be able to get the same hotel, but maybe in a different category. But a lot of times you might have to choose another hotel. So you have to decide at this point, do you care about going to another hotel for a few days and then moving to the hotel you want? Or are you just going to completely move to a different hotel that you know you can stay at the whole time? I'm choosing that we are going to do 2 nights at one hotel and 4 nights at another hotel. So we are starting off, let's say, at All Star Movies for those 2 first nights, and then we are moving to Caribbean Beach for the last 4 days. Now, I chose that, I was going to move to the All Stars because I'm trying to save a little money because I know we had to make so many adjustments to our trip. So I'm not going to go for the top of the top hotel. I'm just trying to get to a hotel so we can be there and start enjoying our trip. Also, on those first 2 days, those aren't our Hollywood Studios days or Epcot days, meaning those aren't my Skyliner days. Caribbean Beach is on the Skyliner, so using the Skyliner on that day are important because that's what makes that value and money that you're paying at Caribbean Beach worth it. If I'm at All Stars, it's no problem that I have to go to the Magic Kingdom because my bus is the only option if I was at Caribbean Beach or All Stars. And if I'm going to Animal Kingdom, then bus is my only option no matter what resort I'm staying at. You could drive and all those other things, but I'm trying to just make this as basic as possible. So I like the idea of going to 2 resorts. It also just gives you a nice perspective, and there's so many great resorts at Disney World that doing 2 different resorts wouldn't bother me at all. For some people, it totally does bother you, and that's fine. Then you try and find that one resort that you can stay in. You just have to understand the less expensive resorts typically go quickly, and the most expensive resorts obviously take longer to fill up. So you just have to know that. You might even be at the same resort but have to switch rooms after 2 days. So you have to know if that's worth it to you, or if you're like, you know what, that's going to be so much of a hassle. If there's 6 of you in one room, that might be too much of a hassle to pack and unpack 2 times. So, okay, then you just either go to a new resort or you rebook. But in this case, we're going to do the 2 nights at one resort and 4 nights at the other resort. Now, the last thing, the only other thing that you can schedule right now is dining. And you've lost your dining, your 2 favorite places that you were so excited at and you worked at 60 days. You lost them because those are the 2 days now that you're not going to Disney World because of the hurricane. So, what are you going to do? You want those dining. You worked so hard to get that Topolino's, dining, and you worked for that California Grill reservation during fireworks, and you want that now. So what are you going to do? There are so many options that you can do. These are just the top 3 that I came up with, but one of them is just to wing it. They do have walk-up availability at all the sit-down restaurants. So once the restaurant is open and you are close enough, typically on Disney property, and you have to be within, if it's in the Magic Kingdom, you need to be at the Magic Kingdom to try it. But you can try for those reservations with the walk-up list and just see what happens. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. Maybe you're like, you know what, we're finally here, we have plenty to do, I don't care about that reservation as much as I thought I was going to. It would have been nice, but you know what, we'll be back so we could do it next time. That's one option. The other option is to try all the time, every day, to see if you can get a reservation. I will say that as the dates get closer to your trip dates, reservations come up. I recently got, I was there in June. When I was there in June, I had been trying for Topolino's for 60 days, and at 59 days and 12 hours, I finally got it. And it was at 5:30 p.m. the night before, and I got a 7:50 a.m. reservation for the following day. So it was just my persistence. I kept trying. I know some tips and tricks that I do to help people get their dining reservations. So you can keep trying. You can sign up for lists that will help you also. All those things, and you can keep trying. Now, of course, the best option is to tell your travel agent that that's what you want. Hey, help me out with this reservation. We had to adjust our dates. Can you help me out? And then it's on them. They could try and get it for you. Or you're both working at the same time, so now you have 2 people working at the same reservation. And that can really help you to get those reservations. You have to be a little more flexible with your time. You might be getting 3 p.m. times, or you might be getting that 7:35 a.m. reservation if it's for breakfast. You just have to know, are you okay with that, or are you not okay with that? You just kind of have to try and see what you can do and see what happens. So of course, the option we're going to pick is using your travel agent, because at least that's your other person that's actively always looking for those reservations and trying for them up to the day that you're there. So it's very important that, if there are very important parts to your trip, having that extra person to help you out, get reservations, work on things, talk back and forth, that's where a travel agent will come in handy. All right, I hope that you enjoyed this special Choose Your Own Pivot Hurricane edition. And I will be doing more of these videos, these pivot videos, so that you can start learning how to pivot in these difficult situations to make your vacation smoother. If you have any ideas, or if you want to choose your own, that you would like me to do, please let me know in the comments, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook and message me there. Please hit the subscribe button so you can get more videos like this, and I will talk to you soon.